I was delighted to be given the chance by the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Theresa May, to take up this role. It's an incredibly exciting time for Africa, and it's an important time for the United Kingdom as well. We've just had our referendum to leave the European Union. I think we need to ensure that we turn this into a big opportunity to engage with some of our traditional friends and partners in Africa, to strengthen the ties that already exist and build new relationships where those opportunities arise, and to ensure that we play our part in developing Africa to be the incredible world force that this great continent and many of the wonderful countries that make it up really should be. I've visited Africa before with the charity Oxfam to see the work that they were doing, but this is my first official visit as a new minister in DFID, and I've had a very interesting few days. I've seen an awful lot of the work that we do. I've met some of the leading politicians here in Kenya. I've learnt about the great potential that Kenya has and the incredible importance of Kenya's relationship with the United Kingdom. We want to go on to strengthen that relationship and build on that potential and those economic ties. I've also seen some of the challenges that exist, the things that need to be done, and the contribution that DFID can make, that the UK government and the UK people can make to helping to develop this economy and help those people who are most in need of support. Well, I've met a number of people, including some of Kenya's leading politicians here in Nairobi. I've also been out to Marsabit. I've seen the challenges that exist there and indeed the different environment in which people live. I think there is huge potential right across Kenya, but there is no denying that there is also a lot of work that needs to be done. In Marsabit, I met people who are seeing their lives improved, who are seeing opportunities through some of the work that the UK government is doing through DFID, but also through some of the changes they're seeing around them. That doesn't mean there isn't still a lot of work that is needed, but we're seeing more young people educated, we're seeing more investment going in. Of course, we'd like to see it go further, we'd like to see more done, but I have no doubt, particularly given the range of wonderful people that I've had the chance to meet on my visit, that the potential in this country is very significant indeed, and I want the UK to play a part in unlocking that potential for the future. I think there's an awful lot that needs to be done across a range of policy areas. One of the visits that I made in Marsabit was to the Hunger Safety Net programme, to see that support which is given to people who most need it and what it allows them to do to better the chances for the future of their lives. And I saw children who are going to be able to go to school because of the support that they're being given, in no small part by the UK government, by UK taxpayers. But I also saw the investment that's going into infrastructure. I saw the challenges that exist because of the environmental conditions that are there. I think there is a broad range of things that needs to be done. There are particular and specific projects, and I've mentioned one there, that are already making a difference. But I've got no doubt that the whole package of what needs to be delivered will continue to evolve, and I want the UK to play a key role in delivering that. The UK government is extremely concerned by the circumstances that we see in South Sudan. I've been dealing with and discussing with global partners the challenges faced by people who live there. Only this week, and indeed before I came on my trip, I made a number of phone calls to some of our global partners that share the concerns the UK has, both about the impact on the people who live in South Sudan itself, but of course on the broader regional impact that it can have when countries enter periods of destabilisation like that which we have seen. We want to see a solution. South Sudan is a country which has the most incredible potential to be economically successful, and yet which is seeing that potential lost because of the challenges and the problems that it's faced with today. The UK is keen and will be key to being engaged in that process to try and help find a solution, but that solution has got to take the people of South Sudan with it, and that's what we want to see. I think that we need to be incredibly careful in how this sensitive issue is handled. I absolutely recognise the challenges that are faced by the government of Kenya, but I also think that it is key that we remember all of our obligations across the world and globally to the people who are affected by conflict, to the people who find themselves in position like those who live in the Dadaab camp. We would, of course, like to see peaceful and appropriate resettlement in a timely way. I hope and believe that is what the government of Kenya wants to see, and I've discussed that with some of the representatives of the government of Kenya during my visit. The UK wants to ensure that ultimately whatever happens, it is managed carefully. People are looked after as well and as appropriately as we can, and we stand ready to work with our partners, including of course the government of Kenya, to ensure that that is the case. This is my first official visit to Africa since my appointment as the new minister in DFID. I think that itself, and I hope that, will underline the importance that the UK places on its relationship with Kenya and on the importance that Kenya has in setting out its own future, but also being a leader for this region and a leader in Africa. This is a country which has the most incredible potential and the most wonderful people. I've been lucky over the last few days to have an opportunity to see some of that potential and to meet some of those people. I recognise that there are still very serious challenges in parts of Kenya, brought on by environmental conditions, brought on by the need for infrastructure investment, the need for education, the need for support. But I also see, and we see it around us in Nairobi, that there's incredible potential for growth and success as well. The UK wants to deepen and strengthen its ties with Kenya. We want Kenya to be an economic success, even more so than it has been in the past, because that makes Kenya a good trading partner for the United Kingdom, and we want to play our full role in ensuring that Kenya reaches that potential. DFID, the UK government, spends in the region of £270 million a year supporting Kenya in its path to development. We want to ensure that money is spent in the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm here, but I'm confident that if it is, and with everything else that's happening here, this can be a great force for good in the future. A lighter part of it. Well, I think the incredible natural assets that Kenya has, which are so obvious and clear, the fact that you have a national park which runs up so close to your capital city makes a great statement about that juxtaposition between strong economic development and growth and ambition for the future, but a recognition of the importance of the natural environment and the wonderful place in which the people of Kenya have been fortunate to be born and get to live. I think that's all part of the story that Kenya has to tell, and it's a great story and one that will appeal not just to people like me on my visits, but I'm sure the one that will appeal across the world as Kenya continues to develop and grow.